10. Aurora. My mouth is so dry and my bed sheets feel as hard as denim. The morning sun is far too painful as I prise my eyes open. Hold on. Why am I outside? It takes me a few seconds to register that my bed is in fact not a bed, and instead a body. Wyatt's body to be exact. And I'm lying across the swing with my face in his crotch. And unless he's got something very hard in his pocket, his morning wood is poking my cheek. Shit! I hiss as I scramble away from him, wiping the dribble off my chin. Wyatt groans from the sudden wake-up, the swing rocking until he digs his heels into the ground. He looks dazed, hair mussed, eyes a little glassy, as he also takes in the morning. In a strange way, it's almost sexy. But it's also Wyatt, so thinking that would be weird. Did we fall asleep out here? I rub my eyes. The last thing I remember is talking on the swing together, thank God. Was wrapped in a blanket as there's a faint, lingering chill in the air. Wyatt shakes his head and looks at me a little stunned, eyes flicking across my face. My hair is probably a mess right now, and no doubt my makeup is smudged. Plus I can feel the pattern his jeans have left indented on my cheek. Redness creeps up his neck before he clears his throat. Must have. An awkward silence lingers as we stare at each other. It feels like we've been caught doing something, but in reality we just drank a bit too much and fell asleep. We literally slept together. Never thought I'd be saying that about Wyatt. Wyatt looks away first and stretches with another groan, arms up above his head, flexing his biceps. His t-shirt lifts, revealing the way his stomach softly tapers into a V towards his trousers. Towards where he's definitely straining against his jeans. And there's a wet mark from where. Oh God, I think I drooled on your dick, I say. Brain not quite fast enough yet this morning to stop the words from leaving my mouth. Sorry. Wyatt flashes his eyes at me, a muscle feathering in his jaw. Then he checks down and immediately leaps up from the swing. Oh shit. He turns around, trying to quickly adjust himself under his jeans. I bite back my nerve-induced laugh. After managing to get the swing back under control, I stand up too, keeping the blanket around me. The movement sends my head throbbing. Get worse as you get older. God, they really don't lie when they say the hangovers. I rub my temples and take in a few deep breaths of the fresh air, which wakes me up a bit more. Out of the corner of my eye, Wyatt is still wiping his face, eyelids looking heavy. Not a morning person, huh? I ask, attempting a smile. He grunts. Guess we're back to the Wyatt Hensley I knew before we confessed our biggest insecurities to each other. Before we fell asleep cuddled up together. God, earlier this week I would have gagged at the image. Especially not when I've wasted hours this morning. Wyatt groans, finally turning to face me again, and takes a step back when our eyes meet, not saying anything for a few seconds. I try to pat my hair down. Maybe it's crazier than I thought. I have work to do. I'll see you later. He doesn't even give me a chance to respond as he spins on his heel and jogs down the stairs off towards his house. Just before he's out of hearing range, I call over Wyatt. He halts, turning slowly, failing to suppress his scowl. Really not a morning person, evidently. Thank you for last night, I say, and he nods, lips curving ever so slightly, then he heads off. I needed last night far more than he probably realizes. I know he invited me out of pity, but it was better than wallowing by myself all night. Being surrounded by people who welcomed me in so easily made me forget about everything. Plus, I needed that talk with him, or at least someone. Since Jake and I shared most of our friends, the only people I feel like I can talk to right now are my mum, sister, and Sophia. But the time difference makes it difficult when you're upset at 7 in the evening in Colorado, and they're asleep because it's 2 in the morning over in England. Sophia might have said she didn't mind a midnight chat if I needed her, but I also know she starts work so early and needs all the sleep to deal with the hell-raising teenagers she teaches. I always feel better after talking things through with people, and since I've been at Sunset Ranch, I haven't been able to do that. Which is why all the feelings hit me yesterday. I was just overcome with loneliness. There was a strange comfort to knowing Wyatt understood some of my feelings too. Even if I thought he had zero capacity for emotions before that, except for grumpiness. He was right as well. Annoying as it is to admit, life isn't perfect, and I need to accept that. Maybe my followers will appreciate seeing that I have lows amongst the highs too. Maybe we can all be on this journey of healing together. I'm sure I can't be the only one recovering from a little crisis. And screw thinking that I have to have everything figured out to be happy. I can still be happy even if I don't know what the future holds, even if I don't have the perfect relationship. I grabbed my phone from my pocket and angled the camera at the beautiful scenery ahead of me. The mountain peaks, the sun behind me, cascading buttery sunlight across the rich green hills. I don't even consider sitting for half an hour to edit the photo to try to make it look better because it already looks amazing. The beauty of this place is so natural and unparalleled, so raw and unfiltered. It's everything I didn't realize I needed. It's time for me to be the same. Raw, unfiltered, honest. I upload the photo to my Instagram with the caption, "Who decided that running away to a ranch in Colorado to escape my boyfriend's infidelity and find some inspiration again meant I was unsuccessful? Whoever they are, I'm ready to prove them wrong. Better days are coming, my loves. Rory XO." I honestly cannot contain my excitement as I skip up the steps to Wyatt's house. It's almost enough to drown out the dull ache in my lower back I get when I'm on my period. Loudly, I knock on the door, eager to explain what I've been working on for the past few days. I only managed to get one swim in at the lake over the entire weekend, too engrossed in all my planning. Name. When he doesn't answer, I knock again and call his. "Jesus Christ, I'm coming," he yells. "Actually, it's just me, Rory. What do you want?" A few seconds later, Wyatt opens the door, sighing. He's dripping wet, a towel wrapped around his lower half, while the rest of his body is on full display, glistening in the sunlight. The sight of him makes me gulp. His muscled body is thick and softly sculpted, built from hard, heavy work as opposed to the slimmer, more sharply chiseled gym influences I'm used to, like Jake. The way his hips taper in that same V shape I saw the other morning has my heart stammering. Muscles ripple through his legs too, and I can see a scar on his knee from the injury he mentioned. I'd seen the mountain range tattoo around his forearm before, but he's also got a beautifully illustrated tattoo of an eagle mid-flight that spreads from one shoulder across most of his chest. When I'd walked past him chopping wood shirtless the other day, I'd been too riled up to pay him or his tattooed body enough attention. But now I'm seeing this up close. It's breathtaking. The detail that has gone into it. God knows how long that took. His dark chest hair is neatly trimmed, but still long enough for me to run my fingers through it. Not that I want to do that. Wyatt clears his throat. "Aurora, you good?" I flick my eyes back up to his and his face looks strained. Shit. I'm not sure there's any way I can pretend I wasn't just ogling Wyatt, so I just say, "Yeah, you've got a bit of water on you. Just there," and point at his shoulder. Body is soaking wet. Where the eagle starts, despite the fact that his whole, just like how between my thighs will be in a second if he doesn't put some bloody clothes on. Jesus, what is wrong with me? He scowls. I was in the shower? I can see. I give him a toothy grin, still holding the folded paper behind me. "Can I come in?" Wyatt regards me for a second, jaw ticking. I know the other night doesn't make us best friends now, but the couple of days since have been amicable. He's not even scowled at me when we've crossed paths, so I feel like we've moved forward. Eventually, Wyatt concedes. "Sure. I've never been in Wyatt's place properly before, only caught a glimpse the other night before going to the bar, so I'm intrigued to see what it's like." The interior mimics the rustic parts of the main house, thick wooden floorboards and beams, despite it only being on one level. There's an open-plan kitchen diner and living room, with 3 bar stools that look custom-made beside the counter, and a long forest green sofa on the other side opposite the television. "I'm going to get dressed, hold on," Wyatt says, already heading down the corridor where I assume his bedroom. It gives me the perfect view of the rest of the tattoos down his back. 5 rows of Roman numerals, birds soaring across his shoulders like my butterflies, and a muscled man with wings falling. My fingers itch to trace them, find out what they mean. But I get the vibe that Wyatt's confessions the other night were out of the ordinary for him, and I don't think he's likely going to be opening up to me again. He was only trying to make me feel better anyway. While Wyatt changes, I decide to snoop, placing the paper one brought with me on the sofa for later. 3 big, Dark bookcases take up most of the wall space around the living area, filled to the brim with history books. Why does it make me smile knowing he loves to read? I call out, "Did you study history at college?" A grunt of confirmation echoes into the room. In between the piles of books and on other surfaces, there's little ornaments, bowls and vases with large colourful patterns on them of wolves and eagles. There's an eclectic vibe to his place, but it's clearly curated, with the odd pop of brighter colours dotted amongst the more natural and toned-down ones. Next to a red bowl is the only photo frame in the whole room, which has a picture of what I assume is his family, because there's a younger version of him and Cherry, and a boy that looks like a mix of the two of them, who must be the rock star brother. They're standing between an older woman with long dark hair and an older man with grey hair and a thick moustache. And they're all smiling, hugging. Even Wyatt. The way he's looking at his two younger siblings like they're so precious makes my heart melt. "Did you do that on purpose?" I ask loudly, running my fingers over more books, inspecting the spines. There's books on everything. The American Civil War, the French Revolution, ancient Greece, even the Battle of Hastings. I try to pretend I'm not embarrassed that he probably knows more about British history than me. Sophia would be ashamed. "What?" Wyatt responds, his voice closer now as he saunters back into the room, finishing pulling a white t-shirt over his head. Dark, faded jeans hug his thick, corded legs while the t-shirt complements his darker skin and does nothing to help me dispel the image of his body from my mind. My stomach feels like it's filled with butterflies. God, finding Wyatt annoying is going to be much more difficult now. I also find him hot. Licking my lips, I throw on a smirk. "Studying history? So you'd struggle to get a job and then you could just come back to the ranch?" Wyatt leans his hip against one of the bookcases and crosses his arms, looking at me pointedly. It gives me that weird rush of nerves like when you get in trouble with a teacher. Maybe if he'd been my history teacher, I would have paid more attention. If I'd known you were running over here just to insult me, I'd have stayed in the shower. I wave him off. "Yeah, well, you didn't, so go cry about it to someone else." He sucks his teeth, the scowl returning. "I'm actually here because I have something exciting to tell you. You're leaving?" His eyes prick with amusement, and now I'm the one scowling. Hilarious, but no, quite the opposite. At that, Wyatt stands up straighter, unfolding his arms. I perch on the arm of the sofa. After our DMC the other night. What the hell is a DMC? Deep and meaningful conversation. "Fucking hell," he mumbles, wiping his face. "Don't worry, your secrets are safe with me." I sign, crossing my heart over my chest, grinning while Wyatt just shakes his head. Anyway, our DMC really got me thinking a lot about life and inspired me so much that I managed to actually write an article. It wasn't as positive as my usual ones, but I gave it a happy spin at the end. The relief I felt sending that off to my boss at Thrive magazine was unparalleled. I even posted about it on my Instagram, discussing creativity block and what might be causing it. The post didn't get as many likes as usual, but the comments suggested people really appreciated it. Well done. What was it about? How success doesn't always equate to happiness, and why that's bullshit. I bite my lip to contain the beam that follows when Wyatt's face lights up, softening all his harder features. "I hope you gave me credit." "Oh, of course." I made sure to reference tall, grumpy rancher in the footnotes, I say, meeting his gaze. There's a palpable silence between us as his dark eyes lock with mine. A strange heat rises within me, but not the usual ire I experience with him. It's too weird, so I cut the stare off first and clear my throat, but the inspiration didn't stop there. I've been thinking a lot this weekend about what I want to do with my life. I know I love helping and inspiring people, and it felt really good to be surrounded by people on Friday. And you're right about this place, how happy and peaceful it feels. So, I came up with a bit of a plan. One that means you can keep your job? I reach behind me to grab my paper from the sofa, and when I turn back around, Wyatt's walked over, barely a couple of steps away. I have to tip my head up to him. The way he towers over me still has that intimidating edge to it, but it also gives me a little heady rush. I unfold the paper quickly between us, creating some distance again. Ta-da! Just seeing the collage of pictures Peeve put together gives me a thrill. Like this could actually happen. Like my body knows this is the right path. And I've seen 2 butterflies already this morning, so the universe must agree too. Wyatt's expression does not reflect the same. However, what is it? It's a vision board. His quirked brow begs for an elaboration. It's a collage of images that represent what you want. It's supposed to help you visualize your goals and future, which motivates you to achieve them. I still have my first ever one I made at university somewhere at home, when I first decided I wanted to start blogging. And here I am, so they must have a bit of power to them. Now is the part where I'm supposed to explain my ideas, but the thought of saying it aloud is scary. It will make it real, which sets it up for failure. But also success. I could literally be about to speak it into existence. I want to turn this place into some sort of wellness retreat, I confess, stomach churning from nerves. I need Wyatt to be on board for this to work, and his blank expression isn't looking promising. Look, the buildings are already being renovated. This place needs money, and running the ranch alone isn't enough, we both know that. But Sunset Ranch is so much. More than just a ranch, the joy and serenity I feel here is unparalleled to anywhere else. Imagine sharing that with other people, helping them to feel happier, maybe inspiring them to create too. I really think this could be a hit. And it could bring money into the town too with new visitors. Wyatt rubs the back of his neck, opening his mouth to respond. But I'm too scared he's going to reject my idea, so I keep talking. And you'd stay here, be in charge of the ranch properly. Everything ranch-related goes through you, not me. Because let's be honest, I have no idea how it works. Maybe you guys could do riding lessons and trails too. But basically it couldn't work without you. The silence that follows is deafening. I know I'm impulsive sometimes and don't always think things through, but with this, I really have. When I first arrived here, I was more than happy to sell this place. I knew I wasn't going to stay in Colorado, and there was no point in trying to run the ranch from across the world. There were people I could easily sell it to. The ranch was also a reminder of Auntie Grace no longer being around and how lonely I was, how I was struggling to get work done. But now, I just feel called to stay. Growing up, we moved around a few times. It never really disrupted our lives too much, and I quickly adapted to my new environment, but it meant I never had a place that I felt really connected to. I've never had a home, just lots of different houses. And even though I love living in London, that's not my home either. I know I won't stay there forever. I don't think anyone can truly stomach it for their whole lives. Yet I always had Sunset Ranch growing up. That was always constant until I got older. The joy and freedom I felt here growing up never disappeared. It's the same now. Every morning I have woken up, walked out onto that back deck with my hot lemon water, breathed in the fresh air that smelled like freedom, and felt this thrumming in my chest that says home, home, home. I know Wyatt must feel the same. I'm not going to pretend either that a small part of me doesn't feel bad, that if I sell the ranch, it's taking it away from him too. He doesn't deserve that. Though I'll never say it aloud, maybe I did need Jake to cheat on me, to force me out here, so I could remember where I always felt like I belonged. Everything happens for a reason, right?